Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In this video, I'm going to share with you 3 essential things to do to bond with the Quran. Things that will change your mindset and change your life with regards to your relationship with the Quran. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I'm Michael. I'm a convert. I had no background whatsoever in Arabic. Couldn't recognize the letters. Had never heard Arabic before. And now I've been a Quran teacher for 10 years. I love my work. I feel fulfillment in my life. I'm so happy to contribute to the community. And I'm fulfilling the hadith of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. خَيْرُكُمْ مَنْ تَعَلَّمَ الْقُرْآنَ وَعَلَّمَ. The best of you are those who learn the Quran and teach the Quran. Alhamdulillah. So I have a few students who have finished memorizing the entire Quran, or are on the way to finish the whole Quran in memorization and hifth with me. But that's actually not my main focus as a teacher. This might sound surprising. Quran teacher, you assume, memorize the Quran, that's what it is. I'm almost there myself. But that's not my main focus. What would you say if I were to ask you, as a convert, a little more than 10 years ago, what did I do? What did I focus on? What were those 3 things that were essential to me to be able to become a Quran teacher, to develop a strong relationship with the Quran? If you're watching this on YouTube, check the link in the description below this video for my free mini course on one of those 3 essential things to do to bond with the Quran, inshallah ta'ala. If I were to ask you, as a convert, what did I do? What did I focus on? Things that might come to your mind: learn tajweed, attend a class to learn tajweed, learn to pronounce proper Arabic sounds. Maybe it comes to your mind that I traveled to Medina, traveled to Egypt, traveled to one place or another to study Quran, to study Islam, to study the fundamentals of Islam, study Aqidah, study Seerah, study Fiqh. Maybe it comes to your mind that I must have taken an Arabic course, an Arabic grammar course, to be able to understand what I'm reciting. And these are essential credentials for someone who's going to claim to be a Quran teacher. You can't go without studying tajweed, studying Arabic, studying the fundamentals of Islam. But are those the 3 things? The 3 essential things to bond with the Quran? These on their own are not enough. If you only do those things I said, you're going to run into some problems in your own personal, organic relationship and bond with the Quran. How so? Tajweed class, Arabic class, fundamentals of Islam. These are things that you cannot do on your own. These are things that you depend on a teacher to teach you. You depend on a class. You depend on a schedule. You depend on finding the proper class setting, halqa, environment, so that you're learning these things in the proper way. You depend on finding the right teacher who's going to explain it to you in a way that you can understand it. And these are all things that are technical and not automatically practical. They can be very practical, but just by saying I'm taking a tajweed class doesn't make that practical. It's technical. It gives you the background knowledge, the knowledge base to be able to pronounce the letters correctly. But the practical aspect that's needed also, that can also be there, but it's not automatically going to be there just by taking a tajweed class. The practical aspect is the skill, the practice, practical practice. That aspect of practicing, of getting more familiar yourself, of increasing your own skill at pronouncing correctly, or your own skill at understanding Arabic as you're reading the Quran, or your own skill at being able to read Arabic without the harakat, or your own skill at understanding different aspects of fiqh, or different aspects of seerah, or different aspects of aqidah and things like that. This practice doesn't automatically come when you attend a class, when you register for a class, when you pay for a class. Everybody knows this, every institution knows this, that the students have to be dedicated. So now I want to present to you those 3 things that are a life changer. Those three things that are not in the technical aspect. Those three things that are not in the knowledge base, but they are in the skill. And these are things that you can do on your own. You're not dependent on a class to be able to do those. Think about this. Is there any other language? Is there any other religion? Is there any other religious book that has 15, 20, 25, I don't know how many, different English translations of the same thing? Is there any other book or any other language that you would learn that has a book where you're going to repeat small sections of that book 5 times a day? And most of us, we repeat the same surahs every salah. Every time we pray, we repeat the same surahs. Is there any other book that has that? When a person makes an effort as a Muslim to pray and be focused in their salah, be focused in their prayer, try to make it a meaningful experience, meaningful conversation with their Creator, then you're going to have a batch, a set, a bunch of surahs, short surahs. Most people choose the short surahs that you can, hop around and go, this time I'm going to recite this one, this time I'm going to recite this one. Short surahs at the end of the Quran. Which language to learn? Which book you're trying to learn a set of skills, a set of experience to be able to bond with the words of Allah, right? Which other environment would you have this 5 times daily that you're repeating the same thing over and over again? Let's say I was trying to learn to be able to read a Chinese script and bond with it, because this is the topic of this video. The 3 essential things to do to bond with the Quran. Let's say I'm trying to bond with some Chinese story or Chinese fantasy or Chinese script, something in Chinese. I'm not going to read it over and over and over again. Like somebody who doesn't know English and wants to read Harry Potter. They're going to read it, and once they've understood what it means, that's it. They've read it. They're not going to read over and over again. Now, some people do read Harry Potter over and over again, but that's besides the point. You see what I'm saying here? With the Quran, we are repeating it over and over and over again. That's practical. That's practice. That will increase your skill, your bond with the Quran. Now, I'm not saying to just ignore the technical part. You do have to make some effort or, have some understanding of how technically things work. But the skill is also very important. Think about it in terms of, what does Allah want? What does Allah want me to dedicate effort in? Does Allah want me to depend on a class? Does Allah want me to depend on, having the financial means and the logistical means to attend a curriculum, a course? Sometimes it means you have to travel to go find the right place to learn. Does Allah want me to depend on that? Does Allah want me to sit home and wait until I have that opportunity? If I can't afford it, or if my family situation is such that I can't really dedicate time daily, or I can't, register or enroll in a program to learn, does Allah want me to sit home and just wait and do nothing? That doesn't sound, intuitively it doesn't sound right. There's things that, Allah has given us the opportunity to do at our home without depending on someone. What are those things? These are the things that, I was saying is that as a teacher, my focus is not on making students memorize the Quran. As a teacher, as a Quran teacher, my focus is on those 3 things. Number 1, have a set of passages of the Quran, just like the short surahs that you recite in your salah. Have a set of passages that are meaningful to you and familiar to you. These are the things that many people don't do. You'll have surahs that you recite in your prayers, but they're not always going to be both meaningful and familiar. Familiar that you know where to find them. And when you hear them in Arabic, you know what they are. You can recognize them. You need to increase the number of surahs that you can do that with. What I'm saying here is that many people, they assume that there is memorizing it or not memorizing it. We ignore the part in between. The part in between is to be familiar with it. To know that there is a place in the Quran where Allah talks about this topic that is meaningful to me, that clicks with me, that means something very important for me in my life. I feel like it is my Creator speaking directly to me in this passage. To be familiar with it, to know where it is, to know what it sounds like. Not everybody's going to be able to memorize dozens of pages, hundreds of pages of the Quran that they can recite on demand. But that's not the only thing you can do. If you're not able to do that, you can also get familiar with surahs of the Quran. You can read them and have a set of surahs that when you hear them, you know that that's that surah. And since it's meaningful to you, then when you hear it, you know what you're listening to. You don't need to know grammar. You don't need to know even Arabic vocabulary. All you need to know is recognize the sound, know where it is in the Quran, on the physical page of the Quran. Recognize the sound, and remember that this is something meaningful to you that discusses this or that or the other. So that was number one. Number two, reading fluency. There's a huge distinction, a huge difference, a huge gap between tajweed and reading fluency. Tajweed is the one that you cannot do on your own. You need somebody to teach you. You need somebody to listen to you and correct you. But fluency is something that you need minimal help. Minimal help. Just have the Quran open and a printed Arabic alphabet on the side, and that's your first step to just try to figure out. And as you're doing that, you're reading words. This is the beginning stage of reading fluency. You're reading words, and on a page, it's likely that you're going to make 10 mistakes. But you're still, even if you're making all those mistakes, even if your letters are not pronounced very beautifully, or sometimes even not even very accurately, you're still putting effort into getting reading fluency. Reading fluency is essential, and it is often looked over. People don't focus on reading fluency. A lot of the students in middle school and high school, they listen and read to memorize. They repeat the same thing over and over again just to memorize, and they never increase their reading fluency. Reading fluency is essential. So number one, have a set of surahs, a set of passages in the Quran that you are familiar with and that are very meaningful to you. And don't just stay with like one or two passages. Have a set, have a pretty good chunk of parts of the Quran and just continuously increase that. Number two, improve your reading fluency. Don't stay on the technical aspect of tajweed and proper accurate pronunciation, but mainly your time on your own should be mainly dedicated to increase your reading fluency. This is something you can do on your own. Number three now is to increase your vocabulary. I was saying that you could bond with passages without vocabulary. However, vocabulary, in order to develop a bond with the Quran, with the message of Allah, in order for it to last long, in order for it to change your life for good, this is how I started the video, you need to have some vocabulary. And this is where, think about this. The Quran is a book like no other. You can read the Arabic a few times, read the translation a few times, repeat it in salah a few times, and then time after time, salah after salah, reading after reading, what's going to happen? The words are going to sink in. Nobody does that when they read another book. Any other book, people don't do that. Even in the Bible, people don't study Greek in order to do what we do as Muslims with the Quran. Muslims study Arabic and try to understand and try to read Arabic in a way that no other religion does. So this is the Quran, and this is going to increase your vocabulary very intuitively, very instinctively, organically. You're not going to put much effort. The only effort you're going to put is to just schedule yourself, to just make sure that you make sure every day you take a look at a passage of the Quran and look at the meaning. If you're doing this every day, then after just a few months, you'll have a lot of vocabulary that you know because words are repeated. If you're watching this on YouTube, check out in the description below, there's a link to my free mini course that'll help you tremendously to do what? To just naturally learn vocabulary. be more familiar with vocabulary words. Words are going to click, and you're going to be able to bond with the Quran more with this mini course. Check the link, see the link below the description on this YouTube page. So these are the three main essential things that you need to do in order to increase your bond with the Quran, to increase your relationship with the Quran. Let's repeat what they are. Having a set of surahs that are familiar and meaningful to you, reading fluency, increasing your reading fluency, and increasing your vocabulary, or doing something so that vocabulary will naturally become more and more. You'll be more and more familiar with the words of the Quran. These are the three main must-dos of developing a bond with the Quran. The first two, inshallah, my intention is to post videos on YouTube on a regular basis to help people with both of these. To have passages that they're familiar with and that they have a meaningful, or that are meaningful to them, and to increase their reading fluency. My next video, inshallah, is going to talk about the 5 stages of increasing reading fluency. I've been teaching Quran for many years now, so students, they go through these 5 stages. I've noticed this, and knowing that these are the 5 stages of reading fluency would help you know where you stand, would help you know what to do next to increase your reading fluency. As for the third point, which was vocabulary, doing something so that vocabulary and your knowledge of Arabic words will naturally increase. You won't have to put in effort. All the effort you'll have to do is just schedule your time to dedicate to reading the Quran and focusing on what you're reading. Naturally, words are going to stick. You're going to remember words naturally, inshallah. For this third aspect, inshallah, you can go to quranintuitive.com/bond and get my free mini course that teaches you how to bond with vocabulary words, inshallah ta'ala. If you're watching this on YouTube, check the link, see the link below the description on this YouTube page. So that's quranintuitive.com/bond. What does intuitive mean? Intuitive means exactly what I was just explaining. That by interacting, reading the Quran and reading the meaning, many things are just naturally going to sink. They're going to come into your heart and mind. You're going to remember these things naturally. Quran intuitive are things that you can intuitively, naturally, organically learn of the Quran without being too technical. So quranintuitive.com/bond for your free mini course on connecting and clicking, letting the vocabulary words of Arabic click. I mean, imagine this. You're reading the Quran, you're reading something that you've never read before, and you say, oh, wait, I know this word. I remember this word. These light bulb moments, you want to have those. So this mini course is for you. quranintuitive.com/bond to be able to click, or to help you click with the vocabulary words and bond with the message of the Quran. Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.